How many times I have to tell you this? You wire the $3 million to the Marriott from the main bank account, never from the Feet Finder bank account. I mean, that's going to feed our family's family for generations. Oh, all right, scram. You never do anything right. If this honeymoon isn't perfect with Billie Eilish, she may leave me once and for all. I can't rely on being tall, jacked, and handsome forever, especially with the oh my God. You know, you always sneak up on me in the worst situations. I mean, it's a Friday morning. I'm enjoying this Miami weather. It's approximately 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm sweating like a pig. And you want to learn my best strategies, the obstacles, the things that I've learned from doing this for over 6+ years at this point, and making over $5 million in revenue, and helping scale my students from 0 to 5 grand days, 10 grand days, like Tim, like Matt, and so many other people over the last couple of months. Well, I don't blame you, Pipsqueak, but it's going to cost you a little bit. So what do you got? You're broke? That's why you're watching YouTube videos? I guess that makes sense. Well, at least make sure to like, comment, subscribe down below. So let's get into this, because in this video, I do want to break down all the main things that I've learned from year 1 to year 6. I know I'm an absolute unk in my dropshipping career and scaling quite a lot of stores at this point, to the point where it is basically child's play. Sorry, I had to do a little cut there. I was sweating profusely. Now, in my first year, what I realized is that I put a way too much emphasis on the product itself. And I think a lot of beginners do that, where they are so infatuated with, oh, top 10 winning products to sell now videos, or what product research tool are you using, etc., etc. When you don't realize that everyone has access to the same products. Whatever product you choose, there are going to be hundreds of other people selling that same exact product. And dropshipping is really fundamentally who is the savvier, better marketer. When you see a product, how do you differentiate from your competitors? Whether that be your offer, your creatives, your marketing angles. Because I truly believe there is no such thing as a winning product. You just have winning angles or a winning audience. But you have to find a way to differentiate. So for instance, one of my best students, Kunal, scaled a saturated Galaxy projector, one of the most saturated dropship products of all time, that if you try to sell this today, you're an absolute dunce. But around 2 years ago, he saw this product that was scaling in America and in Canada and doing incredibly well. And he saw that no one was selling it to other markets. So what he did is he took the exact same marketing angles, the exact same offer, the exact same product page layout, and all he did was show that to a new market. In this case, India. And because that market hadn't seen the product and was already validated in other markets, it blew up, and he became the #1 seller of that product in his country. And did over $2 million in sales within 9 months. So while I am a big preacher of marketing angles, you've got to realize there are other ways you can differentiate. In fact, about 2 years ago, I posted this video where I scaled a brand new store from 0 to about 80 grand in 2 weeks. And I was selling this waist trainer. Now, after about 3-4 years, how did I get to the point where I could just scale a new product like that so aggressively? Well, I went onto a tool called AdSpot, and I saw other people selling that exact product. But when I looked at their pricing, when I looked at their creatives, I was like, yeah, they're making sales, but I can do it better. And that's usually the main criteria point I have with products. First, make sure they're validated, make sure the margins are there, and then if there is someone that is right now making a good amount of money, let's say 30 grand a month selling that product, and you know you can market it better with a more enticing offer, with better copywriting, with new marketing angles, and to a new audience, you should be selling that product. Don't worry about saturation. Don't worry about any other variable that you think is important, wow factor, all those ambiguous things that no one can really measure, and it's case by case because everyone has a different measure of that. Base it on, can I market this product better than the main competitor? Because that is who you're going to be competing with. This is a game of dog eat dog. Now, in terms of my first year of dropshipping, I made about $50,000 in revenue. Now, from that, I profited about, in fact, I lost about $2,000 to $3,000 if I was really to be honest with you. I lost about everything I had. And I tested about 20 or so products in that time frame, and progressively I noticed my skills would get better. And that's the next lesson you have to learn when you're a beginner that is putting in consistent work, is making sales, but still hasn't broke through, that every single test you should be learning and improving and iterating. If you are not improving your skills after every test, you are going to stay stagnant. And businesses that stagnate die. So after each test, what I would do is I would look at my numbers, my KPIs. I'd say, all right, how's my website performing? How are my ads performing? And I had certain numbers I'd look at for my ads that, cost per link click, CTR, my return on ad spend, my cost for getting a purchase, all those main metrics I'd look at. And then I'd make decisions on what I should double down on for future tests, what I should do, things I could tweak around, and same thing with your website. So when you're first starting, the reality is the first website you make and the first ads you make for a product should be the worst it ever is. It most likely will not be at the level it needs to be in order to make that product a winner. You're going to have to kind of waste some money doing the trial and error of learning these skills. Because the reality is, in order to make 6 figures a month dropshipping, your skills need to be here. When you're starting, you are down here. And you want to lower, I would say, the time frame it takes to acquire the skills to get to this point. Now, in my opinion, the fastest way to get from here to here, I apologize for the excessive legs, I know, gross, manspreading, is you need to do, in my opinion, 2 years worth of work in 2 months. I truly believe you can learn all the skills that are necessary to be successful dropshipping in 2 to 3 months. But it requires you to put in a certain amount of volume of high leverage activities to get to that point. And if I was to talk to you about one of my best students, Matt, he scaled from 0 to 20 grand a day in about 3 months. Now, in his first 2 months, he lost, I would say, $3,000 to $4,000 with working with me. Because we were testing products, we were continually making some sales here and there, but nothing really blew up. And I told him, Matt, we just need to work on your copywriting a bit, work on new creatives, work on really mastering one ad platform, and at the time we chose Facebook. And we need to just have a copy and paste system for testing all these products and getting slightly better each test to the point where you will reach that level with your skills where it is impossible not to be profitable. So after working on that with him, eventually we hit our winner. And in those 3 months I worked with Matt, the amount of volume, the amount of actions he did, and the amount of problems that he had to overcome in those 2 to 3 months, I would say most dropshippers don't encounter all of those problems and all those tribulations, even when they're doing this for 2 to 3 years. He sped run the trial and error process by testing so many products, by learning so quickly with a mentor who was telling him how to improve his websites, his product pages, his product selection every single day, so that he got to that point where he could scale a brand to 20 grand a day in only a few months. So one of the biggest lessons I would take away from that is, are you operating at the speed at which you need to be to learn these skills as fast as possible? Because if you take your time, if you're just lollygagging and you spend an hour or two a day dropshipping and your competitors are spending 10 hours a day, no shit, they're going to destroy you. Because they're just learning so much faster. But the only way that you could catch up with them, hypothetically, if they have 5 times more hours to spend, is you need to focus your time on the high leverage tasks of your business, which is finding products, creating product pages, creating ads, and media buying. Those are the only 4 things you should ever focus your time and attention on. Shouldn't be focusing on learning a new course or learning a new media buying strategy or, I need a new template for my website. All that stuff, it's horseradish. It doesn't matter. There's so many distractions in the space and so many gurus that are going to tell you this is what matters. You should do branded dropshipping. You should do high ticket product. The method of which you're doing, that's the problem. I got breaking news for you. Dropshipping in every single form or iteration works. The only reason why it won't work for you is because your skills are lacking. You don't know how to execute. Because if you did know how to execute, then it wouldn't matter what type of dropshipping you do or what type of business model you even get into. You would be able to be successful with that. And what I noticed among all the most successful students I've ever had is that they had the work ethic, the personality, and the discipline to make almost any business model work. It was really more about the person rather than the business model. And if you're a person that doesn't have discipline, you don't have your time together, you are constantly distracted and focusing on shiny object syndrome and just watching a bunch of videos, and you're just a procrastinator that all you do is plan, watch, and you don't do, then again, it doesn't matter if it's Amazon FBA, it's crypto, it's dropshipping, whatever it is, you are going to fail. Because you need to learn to shut off your brain and have an action bias. Take action. That is 10 times more valuable than you learning, taking notes, leaving comments that Ethan is so jacked, he's the greatest dropshipping YouTuber of all time, Although that's very flattering to my ego, it's not going to help you earn any money into your bank account. And I really do want to help you. If you are stuck right now, it's most likely not a YouTube video that's going to save you here. Hate to break the news. What is going to help you finally break through, finally get that winning product, is just doing the thing over and over and over again and getting better at each try. Now, a great analogy for this, as I sweat profusely out of every single orifice of my body, is this Harvard study where they had two groups. And they were tasked with the assignment of creating the best pots. Now, one group spent the entire semester, 3 months, just working on this one singular God-tier pot. And the other group was tasked with making a pot every single day. And at the end of the semester, the group that consistently earned the highest marks for their pots was this group right here that were making pots every single day. Because they were doing the action, they were getting better, they were learning, they were improving. So when you are dropshipping, it does not make sense to spend a month building one product page, a month to test one product, a month to make ads and keep working and trying to make a product alive, because I see that so often you get emotionally attached to the first or second product that just makes you a little bit of sales. As soon as you get a little kick, you think that's the product I need to tie my wagon to, that has to be the winner. No. You need to be ruthless. You have to keep testing. Even when you have a winning product, you should keep testing more products so you can keep developing your skills and have more and more winners. It's like diversifying your bank account or your stock portfolio. You don't want to have all of your eggs in one basket because, hey, what happens when that one thing fails or it starts to slow down? You're back to square one. Now, that doesn't mean when you have a winning product, you should divert your attention away from it. No, you should double down, make new ads, make new product pages, because if you look at any big brand in this space that is doing 3, 4, 5 million a year, their current product page is not the one they had when they start. It is most likely 20.0, the 30.0. They're split testing. They're working on new offers, new product pages, new social proof. All of that is being improved. When you look at their ad creatives, it's still night and day from day one. They were most likely ripping creatives, just testing content that was already out there. Now they're doing UGC. They're doing custom content. They're doing image ads. They're doing video ads. They're doing all these different things to find out what concepts and messaging works the best. But that's a process. It takes time. So, let me teach you the most important skill in e-commerce as I sweat every single last little ounce of body fat that I have in my body, and I'm already at 2% body fat, so there's not much left. So by the time this video ends, I may be just skull and bones. So as I mentioned earlier, marketing is the most important skill in dropshipping. It is really everything. And how do you learn that if you're someone that has zero marketing experience whatsoever? Well, I would first recommend getting the fundamentals. And that's through reading books from the best direct response copywriters, because dropshipping is all about direct response, getting people to take an action today as soon as they see your product, because it's a lot based on impulse buys. So you need to understand what psychology triggers, what impulses actually make people buy. FOMO, the desire to finally be better, to improve themselves, to solve a nagging problem. You need to know all these triggers so that you can utilize that in your marketing. Now, I'd say the best place where you can learn, Dan Kennedy, I absolutely love every single book that he's written. Magnetic Marketing, one of the best books ever. Sabri Subi has another book. I believe it's like How to Sell, et cetera, et cetera. It's a giant red book. Great book on marketing principles. Dan Ogilvy in general, great marketer as well. And there's just a few core books. I'd say you only want to read maybe 3 to 4 main books, and that will give you everything you ever need to know about the essentials of copy. Now, once you get the fundamentals, the next step is you need to study relentlessly. Now, for you study junkies that love watching YouTube videos, you're going to love this part, because you do need to know what works right now, because all those books and all those concepts are about principles that are timeless, but you need to figure out, how do I apply that currently today on TikTok, Facebook, wherever you're marketing products. And the best way to know what's working right now is to study the best brands, the best dropshippers. So I would go on to PP ads, I would go to AdSpy, I would go to the TikTok Creative Center, I would go to the Facebook ad library, and I'd start studying up, kid. Because you need to figure out the hooks, the bodies, the concepts, the messaging, all of that are currently working right now, that are reeling in audiences, that are showing people the value of a product and getting them to buy. Now, ways you can tell if an ad is performing very well is if it's on Facebook ad library and it's been active for a few weeks. TikTok Creative Center, it will show you the engagement rate. PP ads, you can sort by ads at over 100,000 impressions. AdSpy, same thing. and you can get a gauge as to what are the top performing ads doing right now, and what should I implement from those ads? What are the traits? What are the patterns that I keep saying again and again and again of the top performers? Calorie data is another great place. I think a Chihuahua is fighting a Great Dane over there. And once you do that, what I've at least realized what is working right now is two types of ads. I'm sweating like a madman. Now, the two types of ads that are working incredibly well right now that you really only need to focus on are ads that splice a bunch of content. So let's say you have 10 videos of your product. You grab a few clips from each one and you put that together. You use an AI voiceover that has a script that leads perfectly on why your target audience needs your product. So your hook is going to be the problem. So, hey, do you have constant acne or do you struggle with acne? And then the next sentence might be context clip. So you saying, I used to struggle with years with my acne. I tried every single product. But then, introducing product, I bought this product off of TikTok, this new syrup, and it has worked wonders. Then you get into the benefits. It does X, Y, and Z that unclogs your pores, that clears your skin, that leaves it radiating. It looks beautiful. It also helps with X, Y, and Z thing that you might care about as well. So it helps with wrinkles, blah, 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 blah. You need to figure out those concepts, those frameworks, ways of presenting the information of your product to get someone who knows absolutely nothing to now wanting your product by the end of the ad. And that is an art. That takes practice. It takes skills. First you'll study. First you'll figure out the frameworks. But then you actually have to do it. So the first style, as I mentioned, is you write out a script, and then you gather clips that correspond with each line of your script. So usually that means a new cut, a new visual every 2 to 3 seconds, and you have an AI voiceover from 11 Labs. Fairly simple. The other style that is working very well is the TikTok shop style, where it's one creator talking to their phone, reviewing the product. And it's the most natural, it's the most authentic, and it is currently the best performing style on all of dropshipping. For Facebook, for TikTok, people resonate with people. They buy from people. They don't buy from companies. We buy from people that we can relate to, that understand us. And the more you can relate to your target audience, the more specific you can be with your hooks, with your benefits, with the problems. The more relatable you are, the more likely someone is to buy from you compared to your competitor that's selling the same exact product. And as we mentioned at the beginning of this, you are competing with hundreds of people. The only way you will win is being more relatable with your copy, coming up with a better offer, and better ads. But what is a better ad? A better ad is one that's more specific to the challenges, to the problems, to the benefits your target audience has, that has visuals that engage your audience way deeper than the competitors. It is ads that split test different marketing angles. Because when you're testing, you shouldn't just be trying 1, 2, 3 ads like every other dropshipping guru challenge YouTuber tells you that that's all you need, when in reality it's not. You can't expect to get 1% of results doing what 99% of people are doing. And what 99% of dropshippers are doing is testing products with 1 to 3 ads, ripping them, calling it a day because they're fucking lazy. Are you lazy? Do you want to keep being stuck in the same place you've always been? Well then, maybe we need to change something. And the way that I've been able to get such consistent student results is we put such a deep emphasis on the creatives, because 95% of your success in e-commerce is your creatives. It is your marketing. Your ads, honestly, if you have a great ad, it almost doesn't even matter what your product page looks like, because people are already getting pre-sold. They'll literally buy from any looking website. And that's why you'll see so many people, when you do study the best performing dropshipping brands, so many of them have the ugliest, most disgusting, gut-wrenching, jaw-dropping websites you've ever seen in your life, because they're so bad. The colors are all over the place. It looks like some Jamaican supplement scam website that's like purple and black. It looks terrible. But they get people to buy because their ads do such a great job of selling people. And I see this in a few brands we're now working with. I right now just partnered with a student that's doing about $50,000 a month selling a problem-solving health product. And when we looked at the ads, we're testing new ads every single week. We will have all the ads going to the same product page. Every single ad goes to one product page. Yet, we will have some ads that have a 1% conversion rate, meaning out of 100 clicks on that ad, 1 person buys. Then we'll have another ad that goes to the same product page, and out of 100 clicks, 5 people buy. The conversion rate from one ad to another is a 5x difference. We didn't change the product page. We didn't change the offer. It was just the ad was more engaging. It was more relatable. It was more specific. And it was able to show the real value of the product and get people pre-sold before they even landed on the product page. So if you want to get a disproportionately higher level of results than other people, I would say you need to put a disproportionately higher amount of time into your creatives. It truly makes a bigger difference than any other variable in dropshipping. So when I personally test a product, I will always do 3 to 4 unique angles. So angles are just concepts, way you present the information. Obviously, your product is going to have most likely 1 or 2 problems it solves and most likely 3 main benefits, but you can present those 1 to 2 problems and those 3 main benefits in a variety of different ways. You can do a 3 reasons why ad, you can do a how-to ad, a problem solution. Usually the best framework is always problem solution. 90% of dropshipping ads that are successful typically use the problem solution. That is the most tried and true, and that's the one you should always be doing. But then with the other concepts and angles, try those out, because you need to figure out what concept gets people to understand the value of the product the best. And it could be problem solution, but it could be how-to. It could be a product demo. It could be a green screen. You don't know until you try. And the only way you'll actually gather what these different concepts are and how they actually work and what's the structure of the script is you study the big boys. It always comes down to that first. Now, once I do my 3 to 4 marketing angles, this is where things get a little bit more complex. This is where I will put in more time and effort than you. Even though I already have the money, I'm already going to get the Porsche, I'm already going to get my rental properties, I will still put more effort, and I will put more hard work into my brands than you, even though I have disproportionately less to gain than you, is in my creatives. Because when I do 3 to 4 marketing angles, let's say it's problem, solution, how to, and 3 reasons why, I will make 3 to 4 unique ads in each one of those concepts, which means I'm not testing with 1 to 3 ads. I'm testing with 12 to 16 original, unique videos that all are different from each other. For instance, if problem solution, I want 3 to 4 unique ads. So in one ad, I'll mention one problem. The next ad, I'll mention another problem. In the other ad, I might mention one of the problems in the first 2, but then I'll mention different benefits. So each one of those ads hits on different messaging, because again, we need to figure out what's the most relatable, what actually speaks to our audience and resonates with them the most. And that's through split testing the messaging. So we do nail 2 birds with 1 stone, because the 2 biggest things you have to solve with your ad creatives is what's the right concept and what's the right messaging. So we try different concepts, problem, solution, how to, product demo. So that answers that, at least to an extent. You may be able to figure out the best concept by split testing 3 to 4, but you'll have to keep trying even when you have a winner. And then messaging. What's the best messaging? What's the best hooks? What's the best problem? What's the problem that actually gets people to stay awake at night because they want to solve it so bad? What are the benefits that really speak to the transformation my target audience wants? You don't know until you test. And in many cases, there's so many different ways you can even say. Like, for instance, the acne problem. I could say you struggle with acne in so many different ways. If you struggle with, let's say, cystic acne, or you have occasional pimples whenever you go out on date night, there's different scenarios, there's different variations you could say that same problem to figure out what is that messaging that really sticks with people and gets me the highest return on ad spend and gives me that lowest cost to acquire a customer. That's the little details. Those are the little nuances. That's the nerdy stuff you have to do in order to differentiate. Because as we said, once again, as I sweat from my eyeballs here, I'm not crying, it's just sweat from my eyeballs. Dropshipping is all about marketing. So I think by now you should have a good idea as what you should focus on with your ad creatives. I'd say the final outside thing that I've learned after 6 years, and after I worked with my first business mentor, Dan Henry, I paid him $10,000, and he taught me one of the most valuable marketing lessons in my life, and that was, you are not your target audience. Never assume why someone will buy your product. Do the fucking research. And how do you do the research? How do you get into the mind of your customers and become a psychic that knows exactly what they're thinking? It can relate to them. You read their reviews. You find a product you like, you go on Amazon, you find competitors, you go on Reddit, and you read the reviews. People will tell you and do all of the research for you. I don't even really think of new marketing angles or benefits or problems on my own, because people will tell me all of that. You just need to find it. And if you read page upon page reviews on Amazon for the top 3 or 4 listings that you're finding, and if you go to competitor websites and you read the reviews, you read their descriptions, you go through their ad library, by the end of that, you should know exactly why someone buys that product, what problem they're trying to solve, what transformation they want to get, what benefits resonate with them, because they will frankly tell you. And all you have to do is just notice, what are the trends? What are the benefits, the transformations, the problems I keep saying over and over and over again? Because you'll read one-off reviews that mention, oh, this helped me solve this specific problem. But then none of the hundreds of other reviews mention that. So cool. Of course, let's throw that away. Let's neglect that because that's just a one-off. That's an exception to the rule. But what are the common trends? If you actually do the research, it will put you so much further ahead than every other dropshipper selling the same exact product as you. And you need to have an edge. If you don't have an edge, all you're doing is just copying the best store that's already selling your product and copying their ads, there's no reason for someone to buy from you. That other person that's already done that work and already spending thousands of dollars a day is going to crush you because there's legitimately no reason for someone who is new in that market to buy from your store compared to theirs. You gave them no reason. And they already have all of the legwork on you and all of the momentum of teaching their pixel and spending thousands of dollars to optimize and tell Facebook or TikTok, here's exactly who my target audience is, so find me more and more people like that. There's no way in hell you can compete with that. Only if you come up with a better offer, better creative, or a new audience that they haven't hit, can you carve your own path and your own pie to successfully scale. So that's what you can do with your ad creatives. The other way you can differentiate, as we mentioned earlier, is your audience. Everyone right now is marketing to US and Canada. Everyone. I have no problem with that. Those are the biggest markets. Those are the most scalable markets as well. I will always market to those markets. However, if I see a product that's a little bit more saturated, it's being scaled in US. God, the two wolves in me want to come out so I can bark at that dog to shut up. It's a Friday. People are enjoying their time with their families and I'm making dropshipping videos. Tells you a lot about my priorities. But the way you can differentiate, if you find a product that you like, that you know is making sales, that you know has the right margins, that you know has tons of content, but is being scaled by everyone in one market, is you take what's working, put it in a new market. Whether that's Europe, so Germany, Austria, Switzerland, those are great English-speaking markets. Netherlands, obviously England. You just want to do a little bit of due diligence on what European markets also are heavily English-speaking, where you can also scale that exact product. Australia, of course, too. So that's the other way you can differentiate. And I also paid about $10,000 recently to another mentor of a guy named Alex Chen. Alex Chen sells glow-in-the-dark soccer balls, basketballs, all of that. And he scaled to $20 million doing so. And the main way that he scaled his brand, because he initially did about 1 million, 2 million the first year, but he couldn't find a way to scale to that 5 million mark. But the one thing that helped him break through was that he took the product that he was originally marketing in the US and Canada, and he would create new versions of his store for each main market. So he'd create a store that's all in German. He would create a store that's all in Spanish. He would create a store that's all in whatever the native language and native currency of the country he wanted to market to. And he was able to basically horizontally scale his store. So instead of having one main store, he'd have the German store, the Australia store, the Canada store, and he would make about a few $100,000 a month from each one of these stores. And cumulatively, he was able to scale to over $1 million a month at his peak. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that because I think that's overkill and you should only do that if you have a winning product. But you can have one store where you are marketing to these other countries and you get a feel, you get a taste of the proof of concept of what markets are working the best for you. Because realistically, it might not be US and Canada and the markets that everyone tells you to sell that end up being the ones that are best for you. Keep that in mind. Now, what other lessons have I learned through 6+ years? As I mentioned earlier, it's really about your work ethic. Because dropshipping is always evolving. It's always adapting. There's always new softwares. There's always new tools. But it fundamentally comes down to the same concepts of marketing being the main thing and putting in the work. Underestimating the amount of volume that it takes to be successful will be your downfall. It will realistically probably take you 10, 20, 30, maybe even 40 products before you hit your first winner. And you need to be comfortable with that. You may think it'll take you 2 months to be successful. Realistically, it may take you a year. Especially if you're doing this on your own through trial and error and you have no one actually helping you that's a few steps ahead. Most likely it will take you a year to 2 years in that case. I know it would have taken me about 2 years. Because after a year, I decided, okay, let me stop trying to figure this all on my own and let me learn from someone who actually knows what the hell they're talking about. Because I have gotten to a point where I feel like I've hit the ceiling of what I can accomplish on my own. I need someone to help me break through that ceiling. And I feel like as an entrepreneur, that always happens where, for me, I've hit my first ceiling about a year in where I could only get to 50,000. Then I broke that ceiling with my next mentor. Then I broke the ceiling with the next one. And it just keeps on stacking to the point where you should invest into people. And then once you hit that ceiling, start working with other people. That's usually how you grow as an entrepreneur. You always are going to hit these artificial ceilings where you just have the lack of experience, the lack of frame of reference to know what to do. And it's hard to know what to do when you've never really done this before, or if you've never really encountered a certain problem. So learning from someone who's already solved that usually is the ticket to scale it in any business, whether it's this, whether it's anything else. So that's another key lesson I've learned. Now, in terms of websites and products, let's wrap up this video. I know it's a little bit longer, and again, I need to take a shower after this because I am glistening like a freshly baked lobster. And I have. In terms of websites, the thing I've realized with websites is that simple scales. Focus on the fundamentals. Make sure your website is fast. Use apps like Flash Page Speed Optimizer. Make sure you're not using too many code and too many apps, because speed is one of the key things that will lower your conversion rate. If you have too much on your website, it takes longer than 4 seconds to load, and you can measure that by using GT metrics, Google Page Speed Insights. If it takes longer than 4 seconds to load, you have a problem. Next big problem is you have an offer problem. That is the second biggest part of your website. Your offer needs to be enticing. Now, the only way, again, like with ad creators, to find out what is the best offer is you have to be split testing. The average dropshipper does not split test their website or their offer. They just stick with one offer, one price point, and they stick with that for perpetuity, for the end of time, which makes zero sense. Because let's say, for instance, I am selling a product for $50 and I have a 3% conversion rate. That means I make $1.50 per visitor. Now, I can be content with that forever, or I could try to find the peak, the climax, that perfect equilibrium where at this price point, this is where I make the most money, because it's idiotic. It's frankly really, really egotistical to think that, oh, the first offer I come up with is automatically the best offer. I've just nailed it. I know exactly what the perfect price point is. You would be an idiot to do so. And in a lot of cases, you realize by lowering your price by $5 or increasing it by $5 or trying a BOGO deal or trying volume discount or throwing in a free gift, it will either double, triple, half your conversion rate, but you never know until you try. And typically, when you're scaling a winning product, the first offer you have compared to the offer you have when you're really scaling is going to be completely different. It will be, oh, I tried BOGO initially, but it ended up being volume discount that worked the best. Oh, I tried $40 as the first price point, but it ended up being $29 plus $10 shipping was the best price point. You never know until you test. So get in the mind, if you want to be different, if you want to beat your competition, you have to be split testing everything. The two main things, offers, creatives. You get those two nailed down, you are golden, and you can scale any product. But the only way you can nail those down is through testing. I've been doing this for 6 years. When I sell a new product, I still split test. I do not know what the perfect offer, the perfect price point is going to be. I have an intuition. I have a general idea. But it's idiotic to think I'm just going to nail it and have a bullseye every single time on the first guess. It never happens. And even with that waist trainer example, when I scaled it from 0 to 80K, I initially sold that waist trainer for $29, and my website would make about $1 per visitor. Then I raised the price by $10 just to see what would happen. My conversion rate stayed exactly the same, but I was making 33% more per visitor because I was charging 33% more. And I didn't realize I could do that, and it didn't even impact things whatsoever. So you have to continually be split testing. The dogs are breathing. Golly. That's the whitest. I mean, honestly, I feel like I just flashed the camera by doing that. I apologize. I need to hit leg day. I did hit leg day a few, like Wednesday. I do it once a week, periodically. I used to be a soccer player, for God's sake. My legs should be bigger. I don't know why. I'm one of those sleeper build guys where I can just lift a lot of weight, but it doesn't really look like it. Now, outside of that, on your website, next biggest way you can differentiate is through your copywriting. Copywriting, as we mentioned, comes from understanding the marketing fundamentals from God-tier direct response copywriters. And once you understand that, then you do your target audience research. You figure out what are the benefits, the transformations people care about. And then you say those words in the most eloquent, the most relatable way that gets people to understand the value of your product, that gets them to understand that they do have a problem that they need to solve. They do have certain benefits, transformations that are possible, that the only thing that's preventing them from getting to that specific point that they want to reach is just your product. And Russell Brunson has a great marketing principle where he says, everyone wants to get from point A to point B, and you need to convince them that the bridge from this version of themselves to the next version of themselves is your product. That is it. That is how you get people to buy, because people don't buy products, they buy solutions. They buy the benefits. They buy the transformations. You don't sell the steak, you sell the sizzle. You don't sell the flight, you sell the destination. That is what you focus. That's why I don't focus on features of my product. No one gives a shit about the features of your product. They care about what do those features bring to your life. How does it add value? If I tell you that this phone has 1 terabyte storage. Who cares? Well, it matters because then you can create endless memories with your friends and family without having to worry about making room for new memories. God, I'm a modern day poet. What can I say? 6+ years, it adds up, people. It does add up. So if I was to summarize everything I've learned, put less emphasis on the product. Stop putting them on a pedestal. Stop worshiping them like they're a girl in a red dress or some stripper at Tootsie's. Realize that there's plenty of products. There's plenty of fish in the sea that you can make into a winner. But the way you make them a winner is you focus on your skills. Specifically in marketing, in offers, in ad creatives, in split testing, of improving, of iterating, of putting in the reps, testing products, getting better, learning, and then studying the big brands so that you can learn new ways and little tweaks that you can do to finally break through. Because it's really that one tweak that you keep doing over and over and over again that will get you to success. Because you're most likely closer than you think to reaching that threshold for success. You are right here, and it just is one tweak. It's one change. It's one new split test away from finally breaking free. You are closer than you think, my friend. So on this weekend, while you decide to plan out your weekend, and most likely just spend it rotting in bed watching Love Island because Rob's an absolute heartthrob, or planning your next fantasy football draft, why don't you decide to spend a little bit of that time, instead of with your family, I'm fucking with you, but instead of focusing on other things that don't add value to your life and don't get you closer to your goal, on testing that product, on working on those new creatives, on putting in just a little bit more time of researching your audience, of thinking of new ways you can market or new audience that you can market to, so that you can get some new results and some new sales and a new breakthrough that might just be the way that finally gets you $1,000 a day and beyond. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you were able to take away something from all this rambling. As I mentioned, this shirt has absolutely been bled through all of my profuse sweating. I will see you in the next one.